Hello and welcome back to another video. My name is Kizzy and today I'm going to be doing a video, well, kind of two videos in one. I'm going to be looking back at my 5-star predictions that I did. I don't know how long ago it was actually. I'm going to look it up. But I did some 5-star predictions and I think I have read some of them. I'm not gonna lie, I can't remember what's on them, but I think I have read some of them. So I'm going to reflect back on them. We're going to watch the video again together. It was not one of the first ones, but it's quite an early on video. I've been on BookTube over a year now, so I feel like I should have developed in my skills as a booktuber, but we will see. When did I do it? 5-star prediction 10 months ago, so it's almost been a year. And yeah, we're gonna have a look, and then I'm also gonna make my own 5-star predictions again, just to like top up with the ones that I've already read. So let me get my headphones. Hopefully I can pull this together in the editing phase. I'm not sure how this is gonna go, but we're gonna give it a go. Yeah. This is like my 25th video, so 24th video, 26th, I don't know, quick math, but let's watch it. Hello and welcome back to another video of mine. My name is Kizzy and if you're new to my channel, I talk about books. So welcome, and if you're not new, welcome back. So today I've got a video that is probably more for my interest than yours. However, I do think you'll hopefully discover some new books, or I don't know, maybe you can give me some advice on these books instead, because I'm going to do my 5-star predictions today, and I've never done a video like this before, and I've never really done this before. I do try and not predict books like 10 videos. I am someone that overhypes books quite a lot in my head, and I build them up, and then when I get to them, if they let me down, then it's sad. So I try not to do that, but there are certain books that I do think will be really good, and I just kind of want to see if I'm right. So this is me putting it down on paper. Okay, this is a really long intro. I'm going to skip. The first one is The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson. So I've read one book by Brandon Sanderson and listened to half of another audiobook of his. However, his worlds are quite complex. I read The Way of Kings on audiobook, and that is quite a big book anyway, with a lot going on, many points of view, many characters. I just think it would have been better to read it in physical form where I could annotate it. Okay, so I actually did give The Final Empire 5 stars, so I was right. I gave it 5 stars. I'm trying to think what I thought about it. I really enjoyed it. I think I really enjoyed the beginning. I kind of lost a little bit of interest in the middle, but it was amazing. The ending was amazing, and just like, whew, I cried. So it was a really good book. Would highly recommend The Final Empire if you are trying to get into fantasy or Brandon Sanderson. They're both great. But yes, The Final Empire I did give, in fact, 5 stars. So well done, past Kizzy, for predicting that. So the next book I have just started reading it, and I'm 10 pages in, so it might be a little bit of a cheat, but I don't think you can judge an 800-page book on the first 10 pages because there's still 790 pages to go. And that book is Crescent City or House of Blood and Earth by Sarah J. Maas. Yeah. So I always forget this came out this year or last year, because I absolutely loved Throne of Glass. Loved it. One of my favourite series. I think all those people that have stopped halfway through need to finish it, because the last book it's one of my favourite series. I think because it's quite a long series that a lot of people have got to a certain stage, especially when Tower of Dawn came out. They got to there and they just stopped reading because they didn't want to like kind of pause in Selena's story. If you've only read the first book. But I love Tower of Dawn, so I would encourage people to read Tower of Dawn, and the last finale book was an incredible finale, so I would highly, it was one of the first fantasy series that I ever read, and it got me back into reading, so it will always have a special place in my heart. I loved it. Loved the romance, the action, the kind of world, the development of the characters. I just really enjoyed it. It was one of the first fantasy series that I ever read, and it's what kind of got me into the genre, which is always nice because it's now the only thing I pretty much read. But, however, I did not like A Court of Thorns and Roses and that whole trilogy. Yeah, I didn't like them. I didn't connect to it as much as I did Throne of Glass. I think I was expecting too much again, as I usually do. So, House of Blood and Earth, I gave this 5 stars as well. Yeah, this made me sob, absolutely sob. The middle bit, is it the middle bit? I don't know, maybe near the end. Oh, it was heartbreaking. It played with your emotions, this book. It was, yeah, an incredible read. I think everyone who wants to read it has probably read this by now. For an 800-page book, I flew through it. It does not feel like you're reading an 800-page book. This is a Waterstones edition that This was really sad. This was when COVID started. This is when COVID began. I was meant to go and see Sarah J Maas, and I went home early to see her in London, and this was the book that they were going to give you when you went, and it was just going to be an amazing time. And COVID happened and we didn't get to go and see her, so obviously because she couldn't fly to the UK. So they still sent out the book, which was lovely. I also missed out. You got a print if you pre-ordered the book, and I sent off to her like the little form that I pre-ordered the book. It went to my uni house. Obviously no one was at my uni house at that point because we'd all gone into lockdown. We were all back home. It went back to the post office, and by the time I went back like 3 months later, they got rid of it and destroyed it. So I never got my poster, and I was really wanting that poster because it's beautiful. The cover of this book is beautiful. But there we go, that's life, that's COVID life. So yeah, I gave that 5 star. So the next book I do physically own is just up in my uni accommodation, and I have no idea when I'm going to be able to get it because I don't know when I'm going to be able to go back because everything has gone weird in the world. So that is Legacy of Ash, and okay, so this is a stunning book. Looks wise, it is phenomenal, absolutely beautiful book. It is massive, like chunky, and I didn't finish it. I got like halfway through, which was a commitment, but it kind of put me in a bit of a reading slump. I wasn't interested in it. It's quite a military-based fantasy, a lot of war. When I think about it, I actually quite like, I'm intrigued to finish it. So I don't know if I'll reread it and maybe I'll like it better, because in my head I like it a lot more than I know I felt when I was reading it, because obviously I didn't finish it. So I might go back on this, but yeah, this is currently sitting at a did not finish status, so that was not a 5 star read. So the next book I have, or the next 2 books I have, are all pre-orders that I've ordered. The first is the 3rd in a series, so we've got good hopes there, and the second is one I've not heard much about, but it sounds cool, so rolling with it. The first one is Empire of Gold by S.A. Chakraborty. So this is the 3rd in a series of the City of Brass, and let me just see what I think. I must have given this a 5 star. This whole series is phenomenal. It's one of my favourite fantasy series out there that I've read to completion. It is an incredible, I know some people don't like it, like, I don't see how. It is, yeah, 5 stars, easy 5 stars. It was a great ending to the series, like a great ending. The middle book is definitely the worst book in the series, but I mean, it's not a bad book. You do have to kind of reassess yourself and get back into it because it jumps 5 years, but it very quickly does, and it's just you don't really notice that 5 year jump. It's fine. So incredible book, incredible series. This follows a girl who is kind of thrown into the world of Jinn. Is it Jinn, or I don't know how you pronounce it. I think it's Jinn. And magic and politics and incredibleness, and it's just a great series. This was a great series. Great finale. I loved it and I can't wait for it. I think she's working on like a pirate book, which I really want a fantasy pirate book ever since I read The Devil in Dark Water. A fantasy pirate book just sounds incredible. So I don't know when that's coming out, but I hope it's soon. Let me see if she's got it on her Goodreads. There's an untitled on there and it's expected to be published in 2022. So we've got a year, but I will wait for that. Empire of Gold, can't wait. And the covers are beautiful, so can't wait for that too. And then the final book that I have for you today is one that I saw on Instagram because someone had an arc of it and the arc looked amazing, and she said it sounded amazing, and it did sound amazing, so I've pre-ordered it. And that is A Court of Miracles. This is an interesting, The Court of Miracles. This I did not give 5 stars. I know for a fact this was one I was actually really disappointed by, not because it was like a terrible book, but because I overhyped it. I think it was marketed to me wrongly. So it was one of those ones that I always talk about where they say it's like Six of Crows, and it's not like Six of Crows. It's the only thing that's like Six of Crows is that it's an underground crime fantasy idea. But I mean, loads of fantasies are like that and they're not like Six of Crows, so I just think they should stop comparing those kind of books to that. So this follows a girl whose sister, I believe, is kidnapped by one of the Dark Underlord people, and she has to go on like a journey to get her back. She doesn't travel, she stays in the thing, like a metaphorical journey, shall we say. And I gave this 3 stars. Yeah, it was very easy to get through. I don't think I spent very long reading it. I think I read it like in a couple of days, but it just didn't suit me. I don't know. I'm not sure if I'll continue the series. I maybe will try rereading it, but it was a Les Miserables and the Jungle Book reimagining. They've changed that. That used to be Six of Crows. The Jungle Book? That's an interesting one. I don't know how it's the Jungle Book. And it's set in Paris, like an alternative Paris, if some person won in a civil war that didn't win. If they'd won, one would be like, I'm really bad at history, so please don't take me up on that. But yeah, I did not. I gave this a 3 star. Was not my thing. So yes. So those are, I don't know why I'm putting my headphones in. Those were my predictions. So I read most of them. I just DNF'd one of them, but I actually did read them, which I was worried I hadn't done. So that's good. But shall we move on to the 3 star predictions? That would be an interesting video. Should I do 3 star predictions instead? No, let's move on to 5 star predictions. It's so dark in here, sorry, I left it a bit late to film. Where's my little bit of paper? So the first one I have is a relative, no it's not, it was released last year. And this is Troy by Stephen Fry. I've read his other 2 books, Mythos and Heroes, which are also retellings of Greek mythology and Greek heroes. And this is obviously following Troy. And I love mythology. I love retellings of mythology, and I particularly love Stephen Fry's mythology retellings. He has such a good narrative voice, and I'm tempted to buy this also in audiobook because his voice on audiobook is just a match made in heaven. I think because I grew up listening to Harry Potter on audiobook with the Stephen Fry narration, so his voice takes me back. It's nostalgic to me now, but he does have an incredible audiobook voice, and I'm very picky with my audiobook voice, so I think this will be great. This will be so fun. And it's also a beautiful cover, like it's got those, and then it's got like snazzy end pages as well. It's just all around an amazing book. And I don't know, he kind of mixes narration. Sorry, my memory card ran out, but yeah, so he makes like a kind of prose narration, as in like he's telling you a story with kind of a oral, like he's just telling you the story, like it's kind of that kind of folk tale vibe, which I really enjoy, and I think it works really well. So 5 star prediction with Stephen Fry's Troy. The next book I have is one that I have ordered, and it's on its way because it sounds incredible and everyone is raving about it on Instagram especially, so I have high hopes. And this is Legendborn. I will put a picture up probably here because there's more space of what it looks like, but it has got an amazing cover, like it looks tantalizing. And let's find what it is about, because actually I don't really know, and I don't really like knowing too much. I feel like it's superhero just from the cover. It is a young adult fantasy, so I'm hoping it is going to be a really good young adult fantasy. After her mother dies in an accident, 16-year-old Bree Matthews wants nothing to do with her family memories or childhood home. A residential program for bright high schoolers in UNC Chapel Hill seems like the perfect escape until Bree witnesses a magical attack her very first night on campus. A flying demon feeding on human energies. The secret society of so-called Legendborn students that hunt the creatures down. And a mysterious teenage mage calls himself a Merlin, and who attempts and fails to wipe Bree's memory of everything she saw. The mage's failure unlocks Bree's own unique magic and a buried memory with a hidden connection. The night her mother died, another Merlin was at the hospital. Now that Bree knows there's more to her mother's death than what's on the police report, she'll do whatever it takes to find out the truth, even if that means infiltrating the Legendborn as one of their initiates. She recruits Nick, a self-exiled Legendborn with his own grudge against the group, and their reluctant partnership pulls them deeper into the society's secrets and closer to each other. But when the Legendborn reveals themselves as the descendants of King Arthur's knights, what? This sounds amazing! And explains that a magical war is coming, Bree has to decide how far she'll go for the truth, and whether or not to use her magic to take the society down or join the fight. Okay, I did not know half of that. That's not at all what I thought it was gonna be. I thought it was like superhero based, but it's like magic based, urban magic, dark academia vibes. perhaps. That's with King Arthur thrown in. That was so random and unexpected, but I loved it. I should have seen it with the whole Merlin thing, but that sounds really good. Okay, I'm really excited now. I'm predicting that's gonna be 5-star. Doesn't that sound like amazing? Loads of people have written, like, who I follow on Goodreads, have given it 5 stars. It's a 4.51 rating with 11,000 ratings. That's pretty good. I think that's definitely gonna be a 5-star. Okay, so the next book I have is one that is the first in a series, and it's a relatively old series. I think it was like 2006 that it was published, but this is the Lies of Lockear by Scott Lynch. This has been on my channel quite a lot recently because I recently bought it and hauled it, and it was on my TBR. Not sure whether I'm not going to get around to it this month, but this is meant to be a great book that has kind of the best friendships in it that is out there in fantasy. So I'm really excited for that because I love friendships in fantasy, perhaps more than I do romances, and I don't think there are enough good friendships in fantasy, because a lot of the time, you know, the main character has to be the strong independent person where she can have no friends or anything like that to make her weakness. So I do think this will be an incredible book to read, and it is, you know, meant to be very good. So I'm predicting it's going to be 5 stars. We will see. This is a risky one, I think. The next one's risky as well, actually. So let's go on to that one. This one is the Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. This, I see either people loving it or people think it's really boring. So I think this is basically about a man who sits in a pub and tells his life story, and the life story is what you get. And I don't know what that story is about. Let's read the blurb. This is a quote. So, I have stolen princesses back from sleeping barrow kings. I burned down the town of Trebon. I have spent the night with Feleron and left with both my sanity and my life. I was expelled from the university at a younger age than most people are allowed in. I tread paths by moonlight that others fear to speak of during day. I have talked to gods, loved women, and written songs that make the minstrels weep. My name is Kvothe. You may have heard of me. He sounds very dramatic and quite full of himself, not gonna lie. So I think this is gonna be interesting, and I really hope I love it. I read the first chapter on audiobook, but I got lost because I'm not very good at listening on audiobooks with things that I don't really know, like characters and storylines I don't know. So I decided to pick it up in physical form, and I do think it will be a 5-star. It'll either gonna be a 5-star or like a dodgy 3-star, so it could go either way. There's another one that I hauled recently and is in my TBR for the month, but I'm not sure I'm gonna read this because I think I'm gonna finish the series that I'm currently on instead of starting a new one, which I tend to do a lot recently. The next 2 books were books that were on my anticipated releases, so I've kind of added, I was only gonna do 5 books, but I've added 2 because I feel like I'm kind of cheating because they're on my anticipated releases, so you'd kind of assume that they were going to be 5-star anyway, but not all of them were, and not all of them have been. I've read one already and it wasn't a 5-star read, so yes, I don't know what I'm saying. But the first book is a debut novel. It's the first in a new YA fantasy series. I don't know if it's a trilogy or what, but it's the first in the series, and this is Witches Steeped in Gold. This is about 2 witches who are arch enemies, but they have to work together to defeat an evil source or person or thing, which sounds great. And it is a Jamaican inspired fantasy where it is likened to Killing Eve in a richly imagined fantasy world of Furyborn and the Ember and Ashes mixed together. I haven't read Furyborn, so I can't say if I like that or not. But I did read An Ember in the Ashes, one of my favourite series. I'm still waiting to read the 4th one because the edition that I ordered hasn't been dispatched yet still, but it's on its way. I think it's coming. I will have it by the end of the month and then I can read it. Ember in the Ashes, I'm there for. Killing Eve, I'm there for. Witches, I'm there for. Enemies to friends, I'm there for. I don't think it's a romance. The author said it's not a romance, so, but yes. 5 stars, I've seen 5 stars on people that have had arcs, so I'm excited. Oh, I'm running out of battery, gotta speed up. Okay, so the next book is the second in a series. This was the best YA fantasy that I read last year. That was A Song of Wrath and Ruin by Roseanne A. Brown. It was great. I would really recommend it. I thought it was the best YA fantasy that I read last year, and I was quite disappointed by a lot of them last year, so this restored my faith in that YA fantasies, I can still enjoy them. Obviously, I'm expecting the next book to be a 5-star read as well, because it would be disappointing if it was, just because I loved it so much, and I'm excited for it. This follows a boy and a girl who, the boy, his sister has just been abducted by this evil spirit thing, and to get her back he has to become part of this competition to become the king of this city. The other side, it follows this girl who must kill the person who wins the competition in order to get her mother back from the dead. So obviously there is a bit of kind of conflicting things going on there, and it was just great. I really loved the world, I loved the mythology within it. I just thought it was a really rich and exciting fantasy to read, and I highly enjoyed it. The writing as well, her writing style was really good as well. That was a lot of things that I noticed with YA recently, is that the writing style is just not on par with a lot of the adult fantasy that I'd been reading. So it was an incredible read. I couldn't really fault it, I don't think, from my memory. So yes, those are my 5-star predictions. I feel like this was a semi-long video, but I hope it was enjoyable. And if you liked it, then please subscribe to my battery ran out literally just as I was finishing there, so I'm now sat on the floor trying to charge and film at the same time. But yes, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, and if you would like to see more of my videos, please give it a subscribe. I will be reading these books at some point in the nearish future, so I do reading vlogs every single week if you would like to watch them. So thank you again for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I've said that about a billion times now, and I'll see you in the next one.